Guys, this is Donnie Lee Jr., Tyler Foster, and Josh Lotto Woo Lanier on an episode of The Process, special segment, The Money Game, with my guy Tyler Foster. We'll be talking to you guys about financial literacy in the athletic community, bringing on guys, former and current athletes, so they can talk to you about their experiences with money and the game. First and foremost, man, I want to introduce our guest for today. We said Josh Lotto Woo Lanier, amazing talent, man, on and off the field. Former University of Alabama receiver, national champion, and SEC champion. Jackson State star, was one of the first guys to make that transition to Jackson State with Coach Prom, way before it was cool, way before it was a thing to do. I never forget, Shadir Sanders comes all the way to Tuscaloosa, pulls up in the big pickup truck just to throw routes with Lotto Woo, man. Every kid in the city heard about it. We were all excited. So man, we just want to give you an opportunity for one, to give you your flowers, you know, being a hero in the city of Tuscaloosa, the work that you've done, not just on the field but in the studio as well, coming out with amazing hit singles, excited to hear the upcoming albums and things of that nature. We want to talk a little bit about who you are, who is Josh Lanier, and who is Lotto Woo, man. So I know that's a loaded question, but who is Lotto Woo?
Man, Lotto Woo is just, in some ways, it's kind of like the purest form of me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's me being me without being who I have to be to the media, to the world. You know what I'm saying? That's who Lotto Woo is. That's just the purest version of me.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Amen. So like when you're going through processes, like you're playing on one of the biggest stages, you're playing football at the University of Alabama, you're winning national championships. How do you stay pure in that situation? I know one of the things that Tyler and I talk about a good bit, man, is, you know, when the fame comes, especially when the money comes, the distractions come, right? How did you stay focused during that time period to stay pure?
I mean, just at the end of the day, when you're going through it, like, it's all real to you. You know what I mean? Like, it really means something to you. Everybody else just looking at it, and they think what they think about it, but we think what we think about it. You know what I mean? Like, if it's rapping, whatever it is, like, when I go in the studio, I'm really trying to do something with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to make something out of this. When I'm on the field, like, I'm really trying to make something out of this. So everything else come behind. That's how they gonna look at it. But you just gotta stay focused on the main thing. Keep the main thing the main thing. Because if not, you're gonna slip up. And slip-ups count. You know what I'm saying?
Slippers count for sure.
So Josh, you had a chance to play for arguably the greatest college football coach in Nick Saban, and then probably the hottest coach today in college football, Coach Prime. Talk about their similarities and differences, because the media has portrayed it as they're a lot closer than people imagine. So I'd love to hear just some insights of being with both of those guys in two different programs.
I mean, obviously, they're both winners. You know what I'm saying? They both got the winning mindset. They both got the dominating mindset. Unfortunately, when I was at Jackson State, I didn't get to really experience Coach Prime because I got there August 1st. Right out, I graduated July 31st, went there August 1st, started the season with them, but Coach Prime, that's when he started getting sick with his foot and stuff, so he was in and out of the hospital. He was only there really for game days, so I wasn't able to really experience Coach Prime, but I know for sure that he's a winner, and I know for sure Coach Saban's a winner, so winners get along.
And you were also in this major kind of transformation period of college football when you think about pre-NIL and now the NIL phase. Talk about how maybe that's affected, or if it has affected mindset, maybe work ethic, because you hear a lot of the media talking about guys are softer now and things like that. Not something that we necessarily believe, but would love to hear your thoughts about how NIL has changed college football and what your experience was being pre-NIL and then in the NIL period.
Yeah, definitely. Like, if you're looking for that's why when college football used to be more exciting than the NFL, because once you got to the NFL, it's kind of like you arrived. You got what you're doing it for, you know what I mean? So now they brought that down to college. And kids Bryce Young was a millionaire in college, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to have that same grit, that same grind when you're trying to get it. You know, when you got it, it's easier to lose focus. So I feel like that's the main difference. But also, another thing is also teaching people at a young age now the problems they had to deal with in the NFL the first time getting money. They can mess up a lot of money in college. Now when they get to the NFL, they know how to manage their money, so I think that's a good thing, you know what I mean? That's a good side of it.
Tyler, from your perspective and having subject matter expertise in that space, what would be your guidance to these upcoming athletes when it comes to not just NIL money, but just financial literacy in general, right? obviously you have the side of like, all right, I'm getting deals, I'm getting opportunities, whether it's endorsement deals, things of that nature. But in terms of, man, dealing with family members that also know like, oh, such and such has an evaluation of such and such, or the collector's going to pay him such and such, right? What would be your guidance to upcoming athletes that are experiencing that or getting ready to experience that?
Yeah, even to Josh's point, I mean, now we're talking to high school kids that are getting, pretty significant NIL deals. So the earlier you can start surrounding yourself with a team of advisors, whether that's an accountant, a financial advisor, even agents to a certain degree, business managers, things like that, and to have a good mindset and really that humble beginning where you're not blowing that money out of the gate, because a lot of the NFL guys are 21-year-olds. Now you're talking about 16, 17, 18-year-olds having pretty significant deals before they're ever out of high school. So I think now, that paradigm has shifted between working with guys once they leave college to start to talk to kids and families as they're in high school, and how to deal with this sudden shock of wealth, not only to them but their families, and how do they manage and help mitigate risk, not only to themselves but even to their family too.
100%. Josh, what do you think? I know you've worked with a lot of athletes, upcoming athletes as a trainer as well. Do you see a difference in terms of like their preparation? What do you think is really going to separate athletes at the next level now that they do have the opportunity to make that money, right? What do you think is going to be the difference now between the guys that are successful and the guys that kind of get caught up in the distractions?
I think the difference is just going to be like the guys who, like I said, who keep the main thing, like, who actually want to make it to the NFL. Like, if you just wanted to play football, now it's going to come to the love of the game. You're going to know, like, the guys who love the game, they're going to stand out a lot more. You know what I mean? Because they're not satisfied with this right here. They want to get millions, but not only that, they just really love the game. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to get up and they're going to still go to the field. Like, it's kind of hard to get up and want to go to the field every day when you got, like, $200,000 in your bank account already. You know what I mean? I'm probably going to go out tonight, and it's going to be hard to get up in the morning, you know what I'm saying? So, like, right now, like, the game of football, if it's important to you, you will stand out. That's what I think.
Come on. You really got to, at this point, you really got to love the game. Like, there's no pump faking. Right, like, you really genuinely have to have a love for the game.
Right.
Or else you won't work. It won't work out for you. As an artist as well, what are some of the things that you've taken from sports and that you're now using in the studio, right? And that you're now using as an artist? One of the big things that we talk about here is, that transition and that process, right? And going from a current player to the next chapter, right? I know you're very unique in the sense that you were an artist at the same time as playing sports, right? But what are some things that you learned in sport that you're now applying in your music career?
I think, like, I was just thinking about this, like, commitment, discipline, effort, toughness, pride. Like, that's something Coach Saban taught to us, you know what I'm saying? Donnie know about it, and just those things, whatever you do in life, if you can take those things with you, you're gonna be successful. And so that's kind of what I take with me with the music, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be committed. I'm gonna try to be in there. I'm gonna try to be disciplined. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be tough, because every day you don't want to go to the studio every day. Last night I didn't want to go. You know what I'm saying? I was telling my people I don't want to go, and I didn't go. I wasn't tough enough last night. You know what I'm saying? And effort, obviously, and pride. Gotta be prideful in this. Gotta, you know what I mean? I'm not just gonna come in and put anything down and put that out. Like, I gotta take pride in this. You know what I'm saying? And really develop this and polish this. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I take. And also the work ethic, obviously.
100%. I feel like you have a very unique perspective when it comes to finances, and Tyler, I'm interested to understand your perspective on this as well. But man, artists and athletes, right, have a terrible rap, no pun intended, for financial literacy or lack thereof, right? Taking it all the way back to the MC Hammers of the world. But I do think that you see a lot more artists becoming just business conscious or just financially conscious, right? What do you think are some of the similarities? What do you think are some of the differences? Like, obviously, as an artist, there's a certain persona that you have to have, right? And that's why you see a lot of those artists where, they have to have the jewelry, they have to have the cars, things of that nature. What are ways that you believe you can still practice financial literacy while still branding yourself and marketing yourself? And Tyler, what would be your guidance to an artist, to a rapper, where yes, you want to be financial literate, but you recognize that in many cases the chain, like the grills, things of that nature, like that's their uniform. what do you guys think? Tyler, I'm gonna start with you on that one. What would be your guidance and your advice on that?
Yeah, I mean, you look at someone playing professional sports. I mean, your working career is a very short amount of time. I think the average NFL career is 4 years. So it's saving early and saving often, or investing early and investing often, and really looking at things from a really holistic view and saying, okay, how can I invest money where I can generate income post ball? And I think that's one of the main things that I talk about when I meet with guys and stuff and clients of mine about when you step away from this game, will you have enough income to sustain the lifestyle that you're accustomed to living? And it's also, I think, one of the main things is creating and formulating a budget. I mean, that's really one of the things out of the gate that I do with a bunch of guys is, okay, here's X amount of money that your contract says you're going to get. And then we start talking about taxes and those type things, right? Which is a really big hit for a lot of guys. They don't understand that kind of out of the gate. And how can we help mitigate, maybe even reduce that tax bill? But also, it's really formulating a great budget, sticking to it. Back to Josh's point is you got to have discipline, right? Discipline on and off the field. Give me a disciplined person over a motivated person all day long, because discipline will always last. Just like with finance, right? If you have a great budget, you stick to that, you stick to the financial plan that your advisor is giving you, I think you have a much better chance of not being one of the statistics of, 78% of the guys in the NFL live paycheck to paycheck. So that's kind of my insights. Love to hear more about yours, Josh.
Yeah, I think like what you said. I think just investing because, obviously, if you give me if I got like $10,000, right, and right now I'm gonna feel rich, but if I'm not doing anything with this $10,000, like I'm gonna keep spending and it's gonna be gone. So like you said, it's a cap on NFL or rap career. Like you're not gonna make the same amount of money all the time. It's gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the best thing you gotta do is just try to kind of invest, get with somebody like you, you know what I'm saying, somebody who can tell you what to do with this money to keep making it make money. You know what I'm saying? So you're just not staying still, right? Because if you're spending it, it's gonna leave. It's gonna go.
What do you think some of the main pitfalls, even on adding to Donnie's question here, some of the main pitfalls or traps that young athletes or artists should be aware of as they start their journey? And with guys in the league or whichever league it is, you go from a point of having not a lot of money unless you have really big NIL deals and those things to a pretty significant amount of money right out of the gate.
Right. I think you just gotta be smart. Like you just gotta know that the money gonna leave. Like I just said, it can leave. So just you gotta be smart with it. You know what I'm saying? Like even though, regardless, if you got $10,000, you might want to buy a $1,000 pair of shoes. But then now you got $1 million, you might want to buy a $100,000 car. You know what I mean? But regardless, you gotta be smart. You don't want to. You just gotta be smart.
I think understanding just relativism with that is important as well. That's something that Tyler and I talk about a lot, man. It's just we have guys that we played with in college that are rich relative to us. They're rich relative to 99% of the population. But there's also a significant amount of people that are a lot more wealthy than they are, right? And so when we communicate with a lot of our friends that are in the league, they're kind of like, man, I don't got that much money for real. You know how much the owner's making? Like, I'm trying to get like that, right? And so I know for me personally, it's kind of put money into perspective because I'm like, man, even guys that I know that are millionaires, they recognize it. Like you said, this doesn't last forever, right? And there's always someone that's making more than you. But one thing that I disagree with in the athletic community, and I hope I don't get canceled for this, but the first thing we do when we go to the league is, all right, I gotta buy my Dukes a crib, I gotta, I gotta buy my folks a crib, I gotta do this. And I think that's absolutely amazing. I think it's kind-hearted, but why isn't it moving forward, right? I wanna change it to a point where, no, I'm not just going and buying a crib here. I know, Tyler, you and I have had that conversation. I want to get an investment property, right? My mom's been staying here. She says she's happy in this crib. All right, cool. We can move forward and start focusing on the next generation, right? So many of us, especially you and I being from Tuscaloosa and playing at Bama, you kind of carry this weight of like I gotta take care of the city.
Right.
Like I can't tell nobody no if they ask me for tickets.
Right.
Like if somebody needs something, like I gotta make sure I'm taking care of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very difficult for us to say no. And Tyler says it's like he's like, man, I can be no guy, right? In college, obviously, you know, you want to get them connected with someone that can be that for you. But what ways did you practice that? How were you able to kind of navigate like just the people surrounding you, fans, friends? For those that don't know, every other person in the city of Tuscaloosa is Lotto Woo's cousin. I'm not being hyperbolic. But how has that process been with you? You know what I'm saying? As people feel like, oh yeah, who got this, who got that, and you having such a big heart, how have you kind of worked through that?
I try to just keep my. It's crazy because I got a big circle and everybody gonna think I'm friendly because I got a big circle. But I speak to a lot of people. I show a lot of people love, but I don't really just let people in. And I just try to. However you've been messing with me like all my life, like that's how we gonna mess with each other now. You know what I'm saying? Like if you know what I'm saying, back in the day when I was at TA, you ain't really want to come to no games. Like, when I got a Bama, like you write me your messenger. I'm gonna hit you up. Yeah, just write me your messenger. And I'm not gonna take my messenger.
Only got messenger.
I'm not gonna take it. You know what I'm saying?
Cool.
So like they are, you know, you just gotta. I mean, I still try to show love and do all that. You know what I'm saying? Be nice. I ain't gonna be mean or nothing like that. But yeah, however we've been messing with each other, that's just the way we're gonna still keep rocking. You know what I'm saying? That's that.
I mean, let's talk about that because, I mean, I think that's one of the things that is really under talked about when you look at things is the amount of pressure guys like yourself and guys in the league, artists, I mean, whatever it is, how much pressure they face from friends and family when the money is there or when the perception of money is there, and kind of talk about, you know, how do you safeguard against that, right? I mean, how do you put yourself almost at arm's length, but help out the people that, you know, obviously have been helping you out and stuff, and just kind of talk about some of those things that maybe you've seen personally or even that you've seen friends, you know, that had those risks, I guess, to money and really their family dynamic.
You mean how you just like, you mean like how you balance it or something like that? I mean, like I said, I feel like you figure out what side the person is on, and then you deal with them like that, and then you also just can't be like right now, like Donnie tell you like I don't answer the phone a lot, right? But I call Donnie back, like, but there's a lot of people I won't call back, like, you know what I'm saying? But and guess what? I know behind my back they gonna be like, man, he lame, like he be acting. I ain't scared to be that, okay? Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be okay. You gotta be okay with people just feeling however they gonna feel about you. It's alright. You know what I'm saying? It's alright. You just gotta be okay with that, and then the people who you love and you genuinely need to. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? Because if they had it, they might help you. They might help them. However it is, it's like that's on you. Whatever God put on your heart, you just can't worry about what they think about you. You know what I'm saying? I
think the last sentence you said in that, to me, man, that's the most important. Like whatever God put on your heart. Mm-hmm. So like from a secular and a tangible perspective in terms of actionable steps, I encourage like even high school kids, like you don't have to have offers to go to your local bank or credit union and get a financial advisor, like to get somebody to work with you, right? Like to get mentored. There's a lot of programs in the area where kids that, whether you got O's or not, right? Like you can get connected so you can start learning how to handle these things, because of, like every kid that I meet, man, my hope and prayer is that you are a millionaire at a certain point in time. Like, and if that's not your dream, that's fine as well. But I hope you find success where you're able to provide for your family and things of that nature. But man, it can be tough. Like you wanna be kind-hearted, you wanna do the right things, you wanna have the hands and feet of Jesus, right? And then you find yourself in a situation where it's like, dang, bro, am I just being used? Yeah. And so I think prayer and discernment is the most important part of that. But for those people that are in that position, those elite athletes, those top tier artists, whatever it may be, man, surrounding yourself with a team, that's imperative, right? And understanding that. Tyler, what would be your guidance in terms, because you hear a lot of horror stories of athletes getting the wrong financial advisors, right? Like Usain Bolt, his situation is very popular right now, where I think like over 50% of his assets were just going away overnight due to mistakes made, or whether intentionally or whatever it may be with his financial advisor. What what are things that you would advise athletes and artists, things of that nature, to do so that they know when someone is good for them? What are some red flags, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the main things that I think a lot of athletes that I've come across and worked with and know that one of the main things is they never really took ownership of it. It's always been at an arm's length. They never wanted to get involved in that process and really learn the financial literacy side of it. And I think that's one of the things that I tell guys is my job is not only to help manage risk, which is probably the biggest component, but also to educate you on what we're doing and why we're doing certain things, whether that's in your financial plan or whether that's in the portfolios that we're managing, whatever that is, and really let them know, not necessarily on a micro level, right, but on a macro level, let them understand why we have things the way they are. Because I think a lot of guys get taken advantage of because they're not hands-on. Because a lot of times it's just it's almost a foreign language, right? I mean, I don't think the school systems do a great job in financial literacy. Maybe they're trying to do better, but that's one thing it's a big shortcoming with a bunch of guys. And then I think a lot of athletes come from a background where there's not a lot of money in the household, and so they're not used to seeing some of the dollar figures that they have. So it's pretty intimidating. I mean, really for a bunch of guys, and so I think the main thing is just taking ownership, right? When you're at the University of Alabama, Jackson State, wherever it is, right, you have a system in place and you're almost on a schedule, right? When you become a professional, that's not the case anymore, right? You have to get yourself to training, you have to get yourself to workouts and meal prep and all this stuff where that was all done for you. So it's just taking ownership. I tell all of my guys, they are their own brand. And so how do you manage that brand, grow that brand? And part of it is making sure you're keeping up with the finances.
Come on. Growing the brand, man, that's a reoccurring narrative where I think that is the athlete taking ownership of who they are when they take the helmet off or when they walk off the basketball court, when they leave the studio, right? Just the brand. I think that's one of the big things that Josh has done in terms of you've got Josh Lanier, but you've also got Lotto Woo and understanding like, okay, this is who I am as a brand, right? We talk about with a lot of the athletes, specifically in the college space of NIL, like the lack of brand awareness. Like you might be a great athlete, but if you're not branded, then it's going to be hard for you to get off-field deals. Yeah. I think the parallel for that with artists is that you could be the hardest rapper in the world, but if you're not branded properly, you got 100 listens on SoundCloud. Like so, it's just not gonna work out. There's a lot of artists that are frankly trash, but they're branded really, really well. They're marketed really, really well, and so they end up blowing up. And so I think that's one of the big things that athletes have to work on is who are you when you take the helmet off, when you walk off the field or the court. Yeah. Sure. I think that's solid right there. So what we'll do is we could cut.
I want to say something to end it.
So we could cut, come in, do a conclusion, and then from there.
Josh, appreciate you for the time, man, today. Appreciate you coming in the studio with Donnie and I and kind of talk about the money in the game and your past experiences, what certain things have meant to you and how you take those things throughout your life now. And we just appreciate it. And
excited, man. Excited to see what you do moving forward. Excited to see everything just coming up. Especially in the upcoming albums, man. Excited to see the things that you continue to do in the community for sure. Just, man, thankful to know you for sure.
So appreciate y'all.